Okay, you didn't have a president, Obama, running around giving gay people more rights in 4 years than black people got in 400.
But it
is the number one social movement in America,
but you
and it is
like
more important than black people.
You act like you're upset he did that.
You damn right I'm upset.
Why?
Gay people didn't build America. Black people built America.
Okay, black people built America.
That's right. Being gay and being black is not the same thing. I'm born this. I don't behave this. I be this. Homosexuality is a behavior. Being black is a state of being. Don't confuse who I am with what you do.
No one's confusing anything. But what I'm saying is this. They're still human like you.
They can be human.
Well, let's take away all gender roles
and all labels. He didn't give them human rights. He gave them gay rights. He didn't give them human rights.
But they're still human. It's still a right.
He didn't give them human rights. Do you know what Obama did? He put the homosexual agenda above the black agenda. Being gay is more important than Michael Brown being murdered. Being gay is more important than Trayvon being murdered. Being gay is more important than your son getting a decent edge. Oh, yes, it is.
No, because guess what?
Homosexuality is the number one social movement under white supremacy.
It is the number one social movement.
Yes.
But what happened when you had those homosexuals and those transvestites that were getting killed that were black? Were their lives no better than Michael Brown or Trayvon Martin's? They're still the same. No, I'm
missing something.
They wasn't killed
for being gay. They was killed for being black. Do you realize that white
homosexuals
they
were killed for their sexuality. They were killed for their sexuality. Let's not confuse the two. Let's not confuse the two.
No, you're confusing.
I'm not confusing it.
Race and sex is different.
No, race and sex is different. But guess what? They were still black. They were still black.
You're going to point. They wasn't killed for being gay. They was killed for being black. You're going to point out a couple. Listen to you now.
Listen to me. No, listen to you.
Listen to
How is that ridiculous?
Listen, I'm about to give it to you. Black people, there's a black person shot by a police every 7 minutes in the United States of America. But instead of dealing with a systematic nationwide movement to kill off black boys, you want to redirect my attention to a couple of gay black folks who may have been shot for being gay, when we got a systematic movement that is ridding the world of black folks.
It was a systematic movement when it came to the LGBT community. You are not going to
make the homosexual movement as important as black life.
I'm not saying I'm making it more important. What I'm saying is black lives matter, all lives matter, right or wrong.
No.
Why?
Listen.
Why?
If you want to fight for other people, you fight for other people. I'm not crying no tears except for black people. No tears except for.
Okay, I'm gonna shed a tear.
I ain't crying for Latinos. I ain't crying for Arabs. I ain't crying for Jews. It is my people who hurting. Don't get me to go fight some gay fight.
Guess what?
Your people in trouble, and you want to fight the gay fight.
But your people, some of your African people are gay.
They suffer for being black first.
They suffer from being black,
but first.
Okay, they're still black.
I'm not going to condone.
They're still black.
I'm not going to condone.
They're still black.
But you are missing the point.
I'm not missing the point.
The issue that we face is racism, not discrimination based on sexuality. That is not the priority. Staying alive is the priority for black people, not being gay.
But guess what? Regardless if they're gay or they're straight, they're still losing their lives as black people. So why is it?
I just said that. Black people are under attack, but you want to piece out the gay thing.
I'm not piecing out the gay thing. I'm trying to say to you, that regardless of the fact of not.
The homosexual movement, my sister, was put in front of the black agenda in 1969 with the gay riots, right after Dr. King's assassination, on purpose to take the black agenda off the table and replace it with something else.
I don't think the black agenda came off. I don't think the black agenda came off. I don't think the black agenda came off. I don't think the black agenda came off.
Really?
No.
Who pushing a black agenda then? Who pushing a black agenda? Because everybody I know pushing homosexuality.
No.
Obama didn't push it. Hillary
what everybody is doing now is they're free to be open and be who they are.
Your listeners. Ain't no homosexual thing more important than black people. Quote it, put it on the shirt, damn it. Nobody come before my people. I don't want to talk about.
But guess what? Some of your people is still gay.
So what? That don't make that issue more important than the fact that black people suffer from white supremacy. Our biggest issue ain't being gay. Our biggest issue is being black.
Regardless of the fact, I think you're missing the point. Honestly.
Is there another question?
No, we're going to stay on this question because it's okay for me to hear your point, but you just don't want to hear my point.
And I think it's ridiculous.
And I think your way of thinking for that is ridiculous.
The gay agenda with the black agenda.
It's not an agenda. It's not an agenda.
It is an agenda.
It is not an agenda.
It is an agenda.
Okay, so if it's not
you must know nothing on the history of the gay struggle. You must
Seriously?
know nothing on the political history of the gay struggle
Sometimes,
for you to sit here and say it's not an agenda.
Guess what? Everything is not politically farce as you might want to make it seem.
For real? So the gay thing.
I think you're exaggerating that.
So I could give you facts on mine.
I could give you facts on mine, but you won't give me a word in.
The gay agenda. The United States government. Explain it.
Yeah.
Money goes from the government towards gay issues.
Which faction of the government?
The federal government gives money to homosexual organizations to advocate their rights.
Okay.
Do your research.
It does not affect about doing my research. It's the fact that the same way the LGBT community came in is the same way the African community came in.
So let me get this right.
No.
We have
Guess
a situation
what? I can let you speak. If we're going to have an open dialogue, let's have an open dialogue.
Where black women have one of the highest infant mortality rates in the world. We got a situation where black teenagers are the first fired and the last hired in a country where a merchant would rather hire a child who doesn't even speak English than hire a black child because of racism and stereotypes. And with all the hell we got going on in black America, we're going to spend a greater part of the rest of your broadcast talking about gay issues when black folks are catching hell.
I just made the point.
You, my dear, has made homosexuality more important than black people.
No, it's the one thing. You know what Dr. Umar, let's be fair about this. When you don't want to talk about something, I notice like how you try. We can talk about it. There's a lot of issues, but this was one of my questions.
I done already told you I don't support it, and it's not more important than being black. I don't know what more you want me to say. I told you the gay kids could come to my school because they're not gay anyway. They're just being brainwashed by a social movement that wants to replace black agenda with gay agenda.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. If that's your strategy, what have you done present day to help alleviate this?
Alleviate what?
Alleviate this disorder you claim they have.
Alleviate homosexuality.
Correct.
Do you know you go to jail for even talking about that you're going to do some therapy that will reverse some sort of homosexuality?
But you just said that in your school that's what you're going to do.
I don't have to give them. No, in my school they will be exposed to what being a black man is and being exposed to what being a black woman is, and they will love it so much that the homosexual confusion that public school and TV and media put in them will automatically go by the wayside. It is not about mental health. And as much as African people and African American people, I agree with you. We fail to recognize when our loved ones and people in our lives need mental health care. But at the same time, I cannot fault us for being so reserved in our efforts to get that help. You know why?
Why?
Because white psychology is largely responsible for the institutional white supremacy that we suffer from. It was a psychologist who created eugenics. Francis Galton, the father of the study of individual psychology, he's the one who said black people were intellectually inferior to white folks. It was psychologists who said black kids need to be separated from white kids in order to learn because intellectually they can't keep up. It was the field of psychology that birthed white supremacy. So you can't fault a black person for not running back to the same massa who's responsible for his social ills to provide his mental health support.
Okay, and I get that, but this is my question to you as a psychologist. White
people cannot help black people. That's the problem.
I get that. And no, we do not have enough African American, or even Caribbean-like doctors that are still of African descent in your field. In your teachings and in all that you've learned, why as a race are we like that?
Black people suffer from extreme humanism to the point of ridiculousness. Our greatest gift is also our worst curse. On one hand, we are the ultimate humanitarians. We love everyone. We love to treat everyone great. We are very open-armed. That's how the European and the Arab took Africa in the first place, because of our benevolence and goodwill. It's our gift. We're the most humane of all humans because we're the first human. But on the flip side, You have to know how to control that and how to check that so you don't get exploited. Let's say you're a real good sister on the block. Everybody comes to you to borrow money. Everybody comes to you to borrow things they need. To a point, that's good. That you are very chivalrous and want to help other people. But taken too far, it will be used against you. And that's our problem. We do not know how to practice. As our late great master teacher, fellow Pan-Africanist, Dr. John Henry Clark said, we don't know how to practice the exclusive selfishness of survival. Every group is a little selfish to make sure they have something to pass down to their descendants, except black people. We are overly in love with everybody else except ourselves.
That's true. I can't argue with that. I honestly can't argue with that point. We got to get into one more track. Just to bring some of the tension down.
We good.
You got
no,
real
we
passionate.
good. No.
You got real passionate
on
over
me. Everything we discuss is in love. You are my sister. I will die for you. So any agreement, disagreement, we still family at the end of the day.
And I appreciate that. We're gonna get into a track, LJ. And again, that's just something we're gonna agree to disagree on.
We can.
With that, and that's fair. I said there was some things that we were agreed to disagree
that's all right.
on,
You my
and that's
sister.
fine.
I love you. Because I thought you were going to say you was Chinese, and then we was going to go into a whole nother conversation.
Well, it's a part of my heritage. It's something
a part
I don't.
of your heritage, but you are an African.
I never denied it.
All right.
Never denied it.
We on the same
but
page.
Guess what? I still look at
Africa for the Africans.
Africa for the Africans. But guess what? In a whole, I'm still human.
Yes.
Regardless of any stigma or
Yeah,
labels you want to put
human?
on me.
Your Africanity.
Yeah.
You wasn't born a human. You was born an African who's a human. You cannot separate culture from creation.
You cannot, but why put a label on
because
something?
We are at war. We cannot practice the illusion of inclusion and act like we don't understand that the world has put the Africa at the bottom of the political, economic, and social ladder. We are at the bottom. And in order to climb up, it requires that we give ourselves exclusive priority and focus.
So
you don't have to hate, but you must be in love with yourself.
Let me ask you this. Do you consider yourself to be on the bottom?
Are you at no?
So why if as a race, why as though wait a minute, why as a race, if we're considered to be on the bottom, you yourself, my African king, doesn't consider himself to be on the bottom.
Your mental positioning does not change your political economic reality. Do you own a supermarket in New York? Do you own an airline? Do you have a distribution network? You can't mentalize yourself out of oppression.
But No,
we don't.
No,
and that's why we have to work. No.
Okay, so technically you're on the bottom with us.
Yes.
But you just said you weren't.
Because I know I'm not less than another person. But as I also said, politically and economically, we have to lock arms, my queen, and raise ourselves up out the gutter together. But we cannot do it except with a commitment to our African identity. It's the fuel that every culture uses, you understand, to build. Chinese are proud to be Chinese. The Jew is proud to be a Jew. He ain't a human. He ain't a multicultural. He's unapologetically a Jew. And you have to be unapologetically African, because in this game, those who don't want to be who they are exterminated.
Okay, so you bring me to my next point.